Welcome to Yoga Mama Online. This class is for those of you that are dealing with sacroiliac pain. And I know personally that can be excruciating and it's really not fun and it really limits your mobility. So for this practice, you'll need to have 2 blocks and we're going to begin seated on these blocks. And before we start off with our yoga practice, I wanted to mention a few things about SI pain that might help you to keep that pain at bay. So one is be really aware of your habits. Specifically, do you tend to sit with your legs crossed? And if so, become aware of that and stop crossing them. The more symmetrically we can keep our pelvis positioned, the less we're going to feel that irritation at the SI joint. Also, being aware of what activities or what movements cause that pain and becoming really mindful around those movements and using some of the core stabilizing exercises we're going to use today to help support you as you're going through those movements. One of the things about SI pain that makes it really bad is that a lot of times people are just identifying it as lower back pain and then they think, oh, I should stretch my lower back. But really what we need with SI pain is stability. So we're going to focus a lot today on strengthening our glutes, hamstrings, pelvic floor, and core muscles, as well as a bit of stretch and release for the psoas muscles. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is as we go through our practice. So all you'll need for this practice is a pair of blocks. Ideally, they're the thicker ones, but if you have the thinner ones, that's fine too. And if you don't have blocks, you can use blankets that are rolled up or folded up to create the same kind of height and thickness that you get with these blocks. So we'll begin in a supported squat. You can place your blocks down, one on top of the other, and then sit on your blocks in a squat position. So when you sit in the squat, you'll feel your sitting bones are really anchored down. We want to have feet pretty wide so belly's got some space in between the legs. And you can have your arms open just inside of your inner thighs. So there's just a little bit of a press out with the hands and a little bit of a press in with the legs, just enough to create some stability. So you can either let your eyes focus on one spot or close your eyes. And take a few deep breaths and breathe your attention down to those sitting bones that are anchored into your blocks. And feel as you take deep belly breaths that the muscles between the 2 sitting bones are getting softer and even descending toward your blocks. And then as you breathe out, see if you can feel that you can lift those muscles up away from the blocks. And keep trying that with each breath. Inhale to get very soft between the sit bones. And exhale, get very strong and toned between the sit bones. So those are the pelvic floor and pelvic diaphragm muscles. They rest beneath the pelvic organs. And they get a lot of strain put on them as our baby continues to grow. And these muscles play a big role in keeping the pelvic joints stable. So we want to keep working at keeping them strong. So we'll take just a couple more breaths here. And as you're lifting and engaging the pelvic muscles, see if you can do so with your facial expression soft, your shoulders relaxed, and also keep your glutes soft, your inner thighs soft. So we're isolating the pelvic floor muscles. And as you're breathing in, focus on a feeling of length coming through the back of your body, with your tailbone reaching toward the ground and the crown of your head reaching up. And breathing out, feeling for that lift of the pelvic floor. 2 more breaths. Now relax. You can let your eyes open if you'd like. And inhale, lift your left arm up alongside your ear. As you exhale, open the left arm out behind you, taking a gentle twist. You can look over the left shoulder. And be sure to keep your weight balanced between the 2 sit bones, your feet equally pressing into the floor. One more breath here. Inhale, stretch the left arm up toward the ceiling as you come back to the center. And exhale, bring your arm down inside your thigh. Inhale, reach the right arm up. And exhale, open the arm out behind you. Look over your shoulder. Breathe in, feel yourself anchored down through your sitting bones and grow tall through your spine. And breathe out to find a little more twist. Inhale, stretch the right arm up alongside your ear. And exhale, bring the right arm down. You can bring both sets of fingertips onto the floor in front of your mat and just slowly lift your hips up, coming into a forward fold. You have the option of keeping your blocks where they are, or if it helps you feel a little more steady, you can bring your blocks underneath your hands. So with your next inhale, slowly bend your knees again, sinking back into a squat position. If you want a little bit of support on both ends, you can put one block under the sit bones, one under your hands. So this is our inhalation position. As you exhale, send the hips up and the head down to come to a forward fold. Inhale, sink the hips down. Option to also lift up the heels. See what feels best for you. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, slow, steady squat. Exhale, forward fold. 3 more. And this next time you come into the forward fold, you can stay there and heel toe your feet a little bit wider. So you're in a wide leg forward bend. Aim to get your spine parallel to the floor and keep your weight balanced between both feet. And really press your feet into the ground. Breathe in, reach your tailbone back and the crown of your head forward. And as you're breathing out, lift your belly away from the ground without rounding your spine. So you're just engaging the abdominal muscles and feel the strength that brings to your belly, the support that it brings to your back. One more breath here in the center. Now exhale, lift the left arm up toward the ceiling, rotating your chest to face the left. Try to get the left shoulder over the right one. And then inhale, come back to the center, left hand down. Exhale, lift the right arm up. Keep your hips centered or level to each other. And inhale back to the center. Exhale, left arm lifts, rotate the chest. Inhale, center. Exhale, lift the right arm. Inhale, center. Exhale, lift the left arm. Inhale, center. Exhale, lift the right arm. Inhale, center. Now, as you exhale, heel toe your feet closer together. You can move one of your blocks over to the side and bring one with you as you slowly roll your way up to standing. And we're going to place that block in between the thighs and come into mountain pose. So in mountain, our feet push down into the floor and we lift up the toes. We want our thighs to roll in a little bit. So just an inward rotation of the thighs and a stretch down with the tailbone so that your low back feels really spacious and your core feels very engaged. Now you can let your arms rest by your sides. Eyes can be on one spot or closed. And these first few breaths here, again, focus on your spine lengthening as you breathe in. The tailbone stretches down and the crown of the head reaches up. And as you're breathing out, visualize bringing your baby back toward your spine with your abdominal muscles, and even the lower front ribs can draw back toward the back of your body so they stay right over your hip bones. Okay, just a few more breaths here. Aiming to feel very strong, grounded, and active, while still relaxed in the facial muscles and feeling soft through the shoulders. And we'll come back here soon, but for now, with an inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Be really aware of the rib cage. It will want to jut forward, but keep it drawn back slightly. Exhale, bring the right hand down either to your hip or your thigh and lean to the right as much as feels comfortable for you. And then with your palm facing out, inhale, rise back up to the center. And exhale, left hand to the hip or thigh. Lean to the left as far as feels comfortable. Inhale, rise up to the center. Exhale, lean to the right. Keep your weight balanced from right to left foot. Inhale, rise up, mindful of keeping the ribs over the hips. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Strong through the core. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. And exhale, release the arms down. And you can take that block from between the thighs and place your block just to the side of the front of your mat. And we're gonna step toward the back of our mat. So make sure you have your feet about mat distance apart. So there's plenty of space when you fold forward for your belly. Take a full inhale, reach the arms up. Again, real mindful of keeping the ribs back rather than jutting forward. Now exhale, open the arms wide and bring a little bend to your knees. And you can bring your hands either to your thighs first or all the way down to your mat. Bend the knees as much as you need to get the hands down, and then walk your hands forward slowly to come into down dog. Now, if you have heartburn or it just feels like a lot of pressure for the shoulders and arms when you come into down dog, then put your hands on your blocks so you stay lifted a little bit. And we'll just take a moment here to bend one knee and then the other, stretching out the backs of the legs. Inhale, slowly lower your knees down onto your mat and make sure that they land right below your hips and your hands are right below your shoulders. And then take one of your blocks, place it in between your thighs. And I usually use the block on its most narrow side here, but feel free to use it on the medium size as well if that feels better. Now push down into your feet and into your palms. Without rounding your spine, lift your belly up away from the floor. So again, just bringing baby close to your back so your abdominal muscles feel really strong. Now with an inhalation, send the right arm forward. Keep your balance. If that feels like a bit much, come onto your fingertips, but keep them very light. And take a few more breaths here. Keep your hips level, your feet anchored down, shoulders level. This is building a lot of core strength, which supports our back and helps our pelvic muscles to stay strong and engaged. One more breath, inhale. Exhale, bring the right hand down. Round your spine, chin toward the chest. And inhale, take your head and tail back into cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, squeeze the block with your thighs. And inhale, come into cow pose, head and tail back. Reach the heart forward. Exhale, round the spine, really push into the hands and feet as you squeeze your block. And inhale, cow. One more time, exhale into cat, around the spine. Keep your belly active and strong as you come into a neutral spine. And with your eyes on one spot, inhale, extend the left arm forward. So you might feel your weight shift a bit. See if you can rebalance that. Keeping your weight even between the right and left leg. The hips are level, shoulders level. And breathe. Feel your strength here. One more breath, inhale. Exhale, bring the left hand down. Round your spine into cat pose. This time press into the tops of your feet. Lift your knees just slightly off the ground. Inhale, place the knees down and come into cow pose. Exhale, round the spine. Option to press through the tops of the feet and lift the knees again. And inhale, knees down, cow pose. We'll keep going here. If lifting the knees is a bit much or if it's hard on your feet or ankles, you can try it with your toes tucked under instead. we'll take a couple more rounds. You can go at your own pace. Be sure to really round your spine and ground into your hands and feet to lift the knees. Feel the strength that's bringing through your midsection. Squeeze the block as the knees lift. And inhale, come to neutral. You can take that block out from between the thighs and lower down onto your elbows. You might need to take your knees a little wider now. And similar to cat and cow, we're going to be taking the tailbone up toward the ceiling on the inhale. And on the exhale, tilt the tail down, but keep the rest of your body fairly still. So your head's going to stay in place. The ribs pretty much stay in the same spot. And we're just moving the pelvis back and forth. Inhale, tail goes up. And when you exhale and point your tailbone down, try to engage all the muscles between the tailbone, the pubic bone, and the two sit bones. And then as you inhale, feel that space become really open. Those 4 points spread apart. Just a few more here. You might even imagine that you're squeezing your block between your thighs as the tailbone points down. And next, inhale, come to neutral and come back up to your hands. And this time we'll put our hands on our blocks. So we are going to be coming into a lunge, and I know for a lot of people that do have SI pain, it's hard to come into the lunge from table pose. So you're welcome to give it a try if you'd like. Simply step the right foot forward outside of your block. But another way you can do it that might feel better for you if you have severe SI pain is to have your toes tucked under, press into the balls of your feet and lift the knees up just like we were doing before, and then bring the right foot forward and the left knee back down. So lunges we need to be careful with SI pain. You do want to find a stretch for the front of your left thigh, so you can slide your knee back, but don't go so far back that you start to feel a crunch or a pinch in the back of the pelvis. If you do feel that, slide the back knee forward a bit more. So find a nice stretch in your lunge. Your hands can go pretty wide here, and make sure that you do have the hands inside of the right foot so your belly's got plenty of room. So a lot of times in our lunges, we'll see people just sinking the hips way to the ground. You might feel that that puts a lot of pressure on the pelvic joints. So instead of letting the hips sink down, really push your feet into the ground and imagine that you're trying to scissor your feet closer together without actually letting them move. And we're going to do that with the breath. As you're breathing in, focus on growing really long through your spine. And exhale, push through the feet, feels like you're squeezing them closer together. Inhale, focus on lengthening the spine. And exhale, press through the feet, isometrically draw them toward each other. 3 more breaths like that. And this next time when you exhale and you engage, hold that engagement and bring your hands up to the right thigh. If you feel a little off balance here, the right foot can move outside of your mat so you've got a little more stability. And then if it feels okay, bring your hands to your hips and get a sense of your pelvic tilt. Are your hips tilting forward? Are they rounded back? And try to find that spot that's just right in the middle with maybe just a tiny bit of a forward tilt of the hips. That's the natural position of the pelvis. And you can keep hands on your hips, or you can try extending your left arm up toward the ceiling and then over to the right, a little side bend. Shoulders relaxed. Keep your ribs drawn back, belly strong. And breathe into all that space you're sending down through the left hip and into the left thigh. When the psoas muscles at the front of the pelvis get tight, it tends to bring the pelvis into a really big anterior tilt, and that can put a lot of pressure on the SI joint. So this stretch helps to relieve that tension. One more breath here, inhale. And exhale, bring the hands back down onto your blocks. You can either step right back to table pose, or you can lift up the left knee, push through your hands, and step the right knee back or right foot back to meet the left, and then to table. And with your knees wide and big toes together, we'll sink the hips back to meet the heels and take just a brief pause in child's pose. Forehead can rest on the ground or forehead to a block. I'll take 3 breaths here. Slowly come back up to your hands and knees, and hands back to the blocks. Again, you can either step the left foot forward from table pose, or with your toes tucked, you can lift up the knees and then step the left foot forward and bring the right knee down. And slide the right knee back until you find a comfortable stretch, making sure that's not putting any pressure on the SI joint. And then as you're breathing in, focus on growing very long through the spine, grow tall. And with each breath out, press your feet into the ground. Imagine scissoring the legs toward each other to close. Keep breathing. You might feel the hips kind of sink on the inhale as you lengthen the spine, and then you'll feel them maybe rise just slightly away from the ground as you engage the legs more. 3 more. One more breath here. Now keep the strength in your legs and in your core as you step the hands up to the left thigh. Remember, you can go a little wider with the foot if you need some stability. And then with hands on the hips, feel that your ribs float up away from the hips. And if you'd like a little more stretch, you can inhale, send the right arm up toward the ceiling. And with each exhale, lean a little bit more to the left to deepen the stretch for the right hip and thigh. One more breath, inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hands back down onto your blocks. And again, if you'd like, you can step straight back to table pose, or you might first want to lift up the right knee. With a strong core, step the left foot back to meet the right, and then lower down to table pose. So you can move your blocks to the side for now, keep them close because we'll use them again. And you can step both knees to one side and lower your hips to the other so that you can come down onto your side. And from your side onto your back, and you'll want to bring one of your blocks with you. Now it is important for SI pain to not let your low back settle all the way into the ground. You'll start to feel some discomfort if you do. So keep your hips tilted just slightly forward for now, and take that block between your thighs and squeeze it a bit so that it doesn't fall. Now your arms can be right by your sides, your head's centered, so you're looking up at the ceiling. Now as you exhale, begin to slightly lift your hips off the ground, and as you do, roll the hips back. Squeeze the block as you rise up. And lastly, lift up your heels, come onto the balls of your feet. Now as you inhale, lower the heels, roll down one vertebrae at a time from your upper back downward, and let the hips tilt just slightly forward as they come down so your low back is not anchored into the floor. Now exhale, lift the hips, reach your tailbone toward your knees, and once your hips are as high as you want them to go, lift up your heels. And then inhale, heels down, roll the spine down, hips slightly forward. So keep going here. Exhale, roll the hips back as they rise up. Lift the heels. Inhale, heels down, roll the spine down. And keep going at your pace. We've done 3. We're going to go for 10. If you need to take a break at any time. Halfway there. Remember, inhale down, And exhale up. And this last time that you rise up, pause. Take 3 to 5 breaths here. Make sure it still feels easy for you to breathe. If not, come down and roll to your left side. You might try to lift the hips slightly higher with each exhale. Feel the strength you're bringing to the glute muscles. They play a big role in supporting the SI joint. Now, as you inhale, bring the heels down and send your hips over to the left, just a little off center as you bring them down. And we'll take the arms open wide and take both knees slowly down to the right. And you can turn your head to the left. Take a few full breaths. Let your whole body relax. Feel free to reposition your legs if you need to get them more at ease. Inhale, bring your head to the center. Squeeze the block, and as you exhale, bring the knees up to center. Press through your feet and send the hips over to the right, and let your knees come down to the left. You can turn your head to the right and reposition your legs as much as you need to so that you can relax into your twist. And take slow, full breaths. One more breath here. Now slowly roll all the way onto your left side. And you can take that block from between the legs, and we're going to extend the left leg, make it long on the bottom. And with the right leg on top, you can have your knee bent and take your block to maybe its middle height and have it support your inner shin. And then your other block is going to come just in front of your chest to support your right forearm. And your left arm is going to be like a pillow for your head. So if there are any other props you feel you need for this left side lying position to feel more relaxing, go ahead and add those props now. And even if you're pressed for time today, give yourself at least a minute here to let your body relax. Take a few deep breaths in through your nose. And let it out slowly through your mouth. One more deep breath here. And if you plan on staying here for relaxation, let go of controlling your breath. And you can rest here as long as your schedule allows. When you are ready to come up, Do so slowly. By straightening out your top leg, you can press the top hand into the block and slowly make your way up toward a seat. And I recommend sitting with your block, or maybe 2 blocks, in between your feet to come into hero pose, where your sit bones are balanced on the blocks. And you can rest your hands in your lap or on your belly and take a moment to feel the effects of this practice. Noting any shift in your body, your mind, or your mood. And I hope this practice has left you feeling balanced and energized. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.